to write rap. I was planning on how I was gonna get back to this motherfucking money. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. 2 white licks passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in this trap. Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. If Black Thought's so fentanyl, this is what it would sound like.
I'm James Jetter. I'm the co-founder and co-director of the Full Citizens Coalition. The Full Citizens Coalition is a voter rights protection coalition. We fight for the rights of those impacted by the system. And in that, we also try to free people and make sure that, communities are being put back together. We've kind of believed that civic engagement allows us the freedom to structure our communities how we desire them to look.
Kennard Ray. How has mass incarceration affected me? It has, whether I like it or not, defined parts of my life, parts of how people receive me, parts of how I've even been able to accept and receive others or conceive things. I think it's less now, but I'd be lying if I didn't say it still has some impact, because if it didn't, I wouldn't have started the Full Citizens Coalition. You know what I'm saying? Like, the work that we do today is going to continue past my time at Full Citizens. James, I'm gonna step down soon, and James will be the full guy. He'll be the executive director alone, and I'll be on the board.
James was my best friend, so I used to go to his crib and being in his crib, because we was right next door. James was 2 doors down from me. So his door was always open. You know what I'm saying? And his mom always had something dope in the crib that we never ate. Like, what is this? And I just, Mom, can I try this? And I just, go ahead, stop asking. I just come in the crib, make me something to eat real fast. Full Citizens Coalition does a lot. We're working on legislation to be passed so people can have the right to vote in prison. Right now, Full Citizens, we building the base. We registering people to vote. Saying, just to know that eventually this could be powerful enough to change the system, and to know that I'm a part of it is really dope.
I met James. I think it was the summer. He knows more specifically, because I feel like I've just been knowing James the whole time I've been here. But that's not actually true, because I think I met him the summer he got out, or that same summer, the year he was released. And I met him through the Yale Prison Education Initiative, and I told him what I was trying to do, and I asked him if he would help me. He would just come with me. We would go down to the projects and meet with the families. Mm-hmm. And I just had him there, and then he started getting engaged, and he was helping the moms, because a lot of them felt like it was their fault. They felt guilty. And hearing his narrative and him telling them, they listened to him, where I was kind of there to support them, but I haven't been incarcerated. One of my uncles was incarcerated for 25 years, and I didn't know him my whole life, and him and I are really close. But my experience with dealing with that every day, I didn't have much of that. I was trying to learn more about it, right, so I can write about it. And he had that lived experience. So it was just a perfect match for us to go into the community with a sense of hope, but also with a sense of relatability.
Being convicted was hard because I did something. I'll start with that. I did something. I did something permanent, and I knew I couldn't undo it. I knew that it wasn't unjust for me to be convicted of it. I did it. Really being convicted was more how do I figure out how to live? How do I figure out how to make some of my life to what is my purpose? Those are the thoughts I had, because I was sentenced to a 30-year sentence, and I had pretty much all of it ahead of me. So I just had a hard time seeing what could that be doing all this time.
Adjusting is hard, man. Adjusting is hard. You know, there's no real. Everything here is programmatic to the point where you have to fit in something, right? People don't start conversations like, well, what do you like, or what do you want to do, you know, what are your interests? They start with like, you should go do this. There's this program. We should they'll get you work here. When I came home, when me and Kanar finally like really linked up, you know, he gave me all his resources. You know what I mean? And all his knowledge and skill sets were at my, you know, disposal to do this work, but also to like help grow me in the space. So, you know, that has been the mode of FCC, and we've just been trying to replicate it every chance we get. So, you know, our network is completely like a network of us, you know, if, you know, formerly incarcerated or system impacted and straight from these communities, and we do that work just by being amongst our own. I did 19 years, 4 months of my sentence, and my written sentence was 30 years, 5 years special parole. Miller v. Alabama, the laws changed. Connecticut sought to get ahead of the national curve. I'm gonna give them, I'll say that. And they restructured a parole for those who were sentenced of an adult crime under the age of 18. So that gave me parole at 60% of my incarceration, which put me to the board. The day the law passed, it made me eligible for the board. You get housed in cages, shackled, and thrown on the buses with no windows so no one can see in, you can't see out. Your ankles swell from being cuffed too tight. You know, then you get to stand in this room with all these people talking. Don't nobody care what you got to say, what you thinking. You just a body, yo. You just a body in this space. It's a powerless situation for everybody. It's powerless for your people to come and watch you, try to support you. It's just powerless. It's powerless for everybody, even the victim's family. It's a powerless situation, and we just all surrender to it. I don't know. It's been a good 2 years though. Man, they've been a whirlwind. I got married at the first wave of the pandemic in a parking lot because we couldn't get a building. You know. So we started life off on lockdown and doing this work. You know, it meant being outside and talking to people and doing registrations and passing out literature and do all this stuff because it had to be done. So like we passed legislation. We got people home, and we want to do more of that. You know what I mean? Like just more of that. Just change things. So passing our first bill was, it didn't feel like something that I could do, something I could be a part of. 4 years prior, I was in a cell. Kanar really has this brain that knows how to see and structure this stuff. And I think it was more just the fruition of, you know, the climactic point in that campaign, you know, with the passing of the legislation, and the campaign itself was unlock the vote. My brother had a vision, and his vision didn't exclude mine. It was like built to have everybody's vision in it. Like, so I was able to come in and, you know, really buy in and stand, like really stand on his shoulders, because it's so much of that world that I just, to this day, it was just like, I don't know this stuff. This is like, I don't think the average, you know, most people don't get it. I think that's what draws me to it so much, is that it's so much that happens that affects our lives in these spaces, and we have no knowledge of them. We have no understanding of how we actually can affect these spaces. That's what draws me to it. But he understands like the beast of it, and seeing it come from thought to legislation, you know, to law. You know, it's not just a matter of saying, well, that's how it's done. Yeah, like it's hard, and you gotta know this. I mean, I was thinking about all them dudes and how to get all of them out. I think with Clyde, I was in Hartford because of Clyde. He had wrote Chief Rosella to get him to come into the lifers program we were in, look what we were doing, you know, which led to like, you know, me winding up at Hartford, me having relationships with the mayor's office, a policy job. This whole city that I wasn't from was open to me because of something that he had started. And, you know, when things started moving and conversations started taking place about who do we aim our efforts to, it just seemed it gotta be him first. So Clyde first.
This is a prepaid call from
Clyde Meikel,
an inmate at the Cheshire Correctional Institution. All phone calls are subject to recording and monitoring. To decline this call, press 9 now, and to accept this call, press 1 now.
Prison is a space of trauma and violence, right? So when you step inside of a prison, the first thing that you realize is that you're in a violent space. The first thing that you gotta do, somebody strip searching you, right? Telling you to take your clothes off, right? And you gotta bare your naked body to whomever is demanding that you do that. So that's the initiation into prison life. So, you know, going through that and then learning that, you know, this is a space where the average person doesn't have the capacity to articulate their reality, and they're dealing on a level of violence where violence itself becomes a means or a way to grasp dignity, right? When you feel like your dignity is being threatened and, you know, you're on a heightened level of alert, right? At all times, trying to protect the little dignity that you got left, it becomes a space where you're always hypervigilant. You're always processing what other people's intentions are. The experience of being in prison is a perpetual, for me, what I would call hell. Like, you're always, and it's a hell that becomes normalized, and you try to find ways to live outside of it in your imagination. So your imagination becomes your heaven, but you're stuck in this reality. And I think that's the most succinct way to try to grasp that experience. If somebody was locked in a basement, right, and you knew that you wasn't going to be able to leave that basement, you would come up with mechanisms to try to escape. Think about freedom, imagine different things, or you might just immerse yourself in the hell even more, right? By the time I caught that case that day, go to my mom's house, get into an argument, that shit was like 5-10 minutes, and I'm getting more and more heated because I'm arguing at first, you know what I mean? And then I just shut up, you know what I mean? And it's like in my mind, I'm already thinking like, I don't want to get into nothing. My family, go get the gun out the car. By the time I came around, he made a move like he was about to do something, and my reaction was lift and pull the trigger. When I saw the sign up for a college program and I had to do the write an essay, I wasn't, I wanted to learn. I didn't think it was going to be what it turned out to be. Initially, we was doing it without no prospects of getting a degree. They didn't give us a degree to 2016. We got an associate's degree, and then, they finally awarded us bachelor's degree. Being inside of the college program really allowed me to, grasp that I had the capacity to learn.
Talking to a sister, talking to the young ones in the family. Some people saying, I don't care, should never get out, Brother Kyle, and it was a family situation Clyde got caught up into, which shouldn't have never happened because it was a situation where he was on drugs at the time. And it was an argument. It wasn't like he went out and robbed them. No, it didn't happen that way, or he came by and did drive-by. So I'm talking to the family and I'm asking the cousin, there's such a thing as forgiveness, baby.
once it became clear to me how extraordinary Clyde's own record of rehabilitation was, I asked him if he would like assistance, legal assistance, and he accepted. And so then a team of students and I started representing him, and we started to investigate his life experience and really get to understand his record of rehabilitation while he was incarcerated, which was extraordinary. He had like no tickets in almost a decade. He had almost earned his bachelor's degree by the time we met him, and eventually did earn his bachelor's degree from Wesleyan. He had immense support from the Wesleyan community and from other people who had gotten to know him, including the chief of public safety in the state, James Ravella. And Chief Ravella had been the detective who had arrested Clyde for killing his cousin, which is what he was incarcerated for, back in Hartford when Clyde was a young man, when Clyde was like 19 or 20. And so Chief Ravella remembered Clyde, and Clyde had written him a letter at some point, and Ravella had invited Clyde to speak to a class he was teaching, and it made a real impact. And Clyde really impressed Ravella. So when we started doing the work, Ravella offered to come meet with Clyde and get a sense of how he was doing, and then he wrote a letter of support for him, as did Scott Semple. And so we went to a prosecutor in Hartford and spent about a year, negotiating with her. She was the trial prosecutor, and she really didn't have, at first, the inclination to give Clyde a second chance. But over the years, my students and I really got to know her. She got to know us. She understood Clyde's record better. She understood how much he had rehabilitated himself, and she came to believe that he was ready to be out for life on the outside.
I imagine that for many of you, the dream was to go off to college and allow time to almost become a thing that feels suspended. The 4 years allowing you to grow without real awareness of the outside world. COVID-19 has changed that. Some of you have been forced to return home to study and write and be a college student while your parents went off to work or didn't, while your siblings went off to school or didn't. In America, no one understands time like prisoners.
When we was walking, when we set up, we got our hats, got our gowns, and we were walking in the line. That was amazing because a lot of the professors that had taught me were in the line. So when they saw me, they got out of the quay, like they moved out of the line just to congratulate me. Dwayne Batts, he was happy to see me. It was amazing. That was amazing. Like, it was odd, but it was amazing. And then, we walked down, sat in the seats, and after that, it was just normal. It was just like, I didn't really, I was just like looking around, all this red, and man, it was cool. Like walking on the stage, I wasn't nervous or anything. I had met Philip Roth before, not Philip Roth, the president of Wesleyan. I met him before, so him giving me the degree, that was cool. And it was like a finality in that. It was like a completion in that, and a new beginning, right? So, that's how it was. And then the end of the day was, it was all right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Clyde. Meikel. Happy birthday to you. All right, Black birthday.
Thank y'all.
Yes. Speech. Speech. We need to hear something. How you feeling?
I'm ready to begin my life, man. You know what I mean? I got a lot of people to support me all around me. I'm good. I'm not really trying to do too much. I'm just gonna sit back and take it in, and then from there, just gonna see where we go.
Blessings, man. Blessings.
Take it all in. Did you have your pizza? You had that first bite of pizza?
Y'all keep buying me these tight clothes and feeding me.
Yeah, I ain't gonna buy more. How was that first slice of pizza?
I had a slice of pizza yesterday. That was not pizza. This is pizza.
Hold on. Before you come hold on. We gotta do this right. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
championship ring. It was, Game 6.
You just gotta listen to one song before we get there.
What you want to listen to? You throw it on right now.
Sons of Men. Natural.
Sons of Man, Natural.
Crazy.
Let me tell you something. Don't nobody listen to Sons of Man.
When I had got sentenced, I couldn't believe that the judge he was about to sentence me. And he told me like, yo, I'm sentencing you to 50 years. Like, I couldn't handle that. And he's beginning to talk to me. And I'm trying to walk out of the courtroom like, yo, you already gave me 50 years. What the rest, what you telling me? You don't need to talk to me no more. My life over, yo. And I'm trying to walk out of the courtroom and my mom said softly that, yo, your life ain't over. And I never forgot that. And that was just one of the instances when she just said it so softly that it stuck to me.
Oh, my name is Meikel, and Clyde is my son. But when Clyde was growing up, he was a good boy, good behavior, loved school, never disobedient. He do what I tell him to do. But growing up, when Clyde was around 14, that's the time I see a change in him. And, I start to talk to him, and I used to do 2 jobs. And he keep giving those problem until, and I tried my best. Until when he start to go to jail, I start to bail him. He went back and he come out and he went back. I keep supporting him until he went. I couldn't do nothing else.
But after, when I really got the chance, like 2-3 months after, that's when it affected me. Like, I'm home and, I just graduated on the Wesleyan campus and it felt surreal then. It was like the echoes or the reverberations of that moment made me really, it felt surreal. Kanal gave me the illest Jew, man, do what you want to do, just make sure you do the work.
The title of it was something like the story was good enough, but the title was ex-cons, something, advocacy, cannabis, whatever, after incarceration. I really hated the fucking title, man. It's like, it bothered me. But there's a thing that you learn, like, it only makes sense to protest so much because, like, I understand that they're selling a sexy title. And it's a part of me. I felt like I was stripped of like more than 15 years of work, all of my history of things that I've been doing to get to the point that I'm at now. Because the reason why they wanted to talk to me is because I got a license. Well, I got 7 licenses. I got this a grow license, a cultivation license, and 6 dispensary licenses. So people have been wanting to cover that.
James is a remarkable human being, superhuman being. And he'd been through a lot when he came out, and he used those experiences to kind of build something for other brothers. So all the stuff that he'd been through, he kind of opened up a space that made it easy for brothers like me. So in my eyes, he's just a remarkable dude.
The Star, 99.9, today's best mix.
It wasn't like what?
It don't never seem fair. Like it ain't nothing fair that ever happened in a courtroom, yo. So nothing fair ever happened in a courtroom. You know what I mean? Like it's never fair. It's never fair. Like it's never a fair thing. And everybody gotta live with that. Like they gotta live being victims, yo. There's nothing fair about that. There's nothing right about that. That they can't. And there's nothing out here to help them move from that state. Like.
I know, but you also have to not rob yourself from this moment. You work really hard. You work really hard, and you're gonna continue to work really hard, not only for yourself, but for others. So don't rob yourself from this moment, babe. Like, you deserve this. Nobody that I know can deserve this more than you. And it was shown today. So don't rob yourself from this moment, okay?
Let me get back comfortable in this motherfucker. Get my swagger back. Get back comfortable in this bitch. Dust that motherfucking day room off. I ain't even write rap. I was planning on how I was gonna get back to this motherfucking money. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. 2 white licks passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in this trap. Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. If Black Thought so fentanyl, this is what it would sound like. Gotta find this fee off a veteran hooker. Left her out in Phoenix cause I let my cousin Devin book her. We could've lost Benny at that Walmart. I was worried about my friend. Y'all was thinking about a false start. We still gon' turn rap into nice houses. Pioneering that like the first black at the White Fountain. Told Poppy Sinfed too, I'm exploring options. Line full of fiends look like Jordan's dropping. You niggas either got a mistake or a crude joke. I was wise enough to learn from what you fools spoke. She stalked me on the gram where she really could know me. My top 5, Heen, me, Rick, Benny, and Sholey. Shout out mama on that 10-year sobriety chip. I hope my bullshit ain't the reason her sobriety slipped. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. 2 white licks passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in this trap. Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Narcan in the trap. Right back at this shit.